we do so much. We work really hard. Our kids work really hard. I have freedom to teach in a way that I think serves my students well, but there are some core things that we do as a community that helps students learn, so they're not learning, Lehman calls them silos, they're not learning in isolation. Asking questions that, you know, how do our families shape us and how do we shape our families? Like fake reading pledge, right?
Fake
so we took a
reading
pledge.
Fake reading.
We took a pledge that we were not going to fake read in class anymore. So more challenging than others, but that's because they've come to me at different levels of different reading levels. And how do I know they're going to be prepared for college? Because they've been at SLA for 2 years and they have fairly good reading skills. It's just that they weren't reading because they were like, you know, forget this, I'm not really interested in this book, I'm not going to read. And then they'll have me again as seniors, so they'll get reading skills. This is just that we're not faking it anymore. That we were. Hey, come here for a second. I want to talk to you. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a second? What does having choice? So this is completely not planned. Okay. What does having? Sorry. What does having choice in what you read in class? What does that mean to you? Does that make any difference in your reading life? Why does that make a difference?
The things that I like to read may not always be the things that some teachers in school may assign, like, but the choices can affect me because I can stay on one genre of book, while the teachers, they actually want us to broaden our horizon of the genres, like from American literature or history. If I read always fiction, I won't get as much genre, and I can't really read the other books, but I can always have my imagination and creativity. So that is what I like.
What did you do before you came to my class? What was reading? What did you do?
We read like the books that the teacher assigned. So it was.
Would you read every single thing all the time?
No, not every single thing. I can't remember which books, but the things that I mostly liked were assigned, like a lot of Shakespeare and plays. So I got to get into a lot of that. Night, I like Night because it was more creative. I got to do a creative project on it. Those are like my main focus. In Lord of the Flies, that gave me imagination and more like see how many metaphors were like everyday things when I go to the stuff. So I learned this like last year. I was talking about that.
Oh, thank you.
That was hard. That was hard.
Good answers.
That was hard.
Good answers on the spot.
Can I hand someone to raise my presentation? Like, can I raise a board?
Yeah, you can erase some more. Actually, you can even do it a little bit like yeah. As long as you're careful with the tape, it's fine. So we, as our stream students of Ms. Rami, pledge to end fake reading and become active thinkers. We signed through. So that was part of our first week together.
So
we had an honest discussion about what reading looks like.
When you say choice, are they all reading different books?
Yeah, they're all reading different books, and this is what choice reading. So this is not just like I was like, you know, screw this. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I thought a lot about this. Like my summer, like was spent on this. Like I've been waiting for this book to come out because I'm friends with the author. Like I knew she was writing about choice reading in high school English classroom. So here's what choice reading looks like. It's a 40-book invitation or the 40-book challenge. So they're not just reading whatever the heck they want. The goal is by the end of the year that every single one of these categories will be filled. So I bring rigor and challenge by pushing them out of their genres. So Jordan, I'm going to use your name, don't be offended, but if Jordan could just read one genre, I know what kind of book she would read over and over again, and she's fine there, she's already mastered that genre, but can she read nonfiction? Can she read a memoir? Can she read historical fiction? Can she read an entire collection of poetry? Can she read a play? you know, how, so those are the conversations. And that doesn't mean like I don't teach anything at all. We use poems, short stories, excerpts to talk about like reading strategies. Like what's going on here? What's happening? And then we tie it to writing. So one of the things that I loved doing was a mentor sentence. They picked out their favorite sentence from the independent reading book, and I brought mine up, and then we like dissected them. Like, why is this an amazing sentence? What moves is the author making? Where's the punctuation? Where's the structure? So reading and writing are real and are intertwined, and they're not. There's still community. There's a ton of community. I mean, you can see there's but you know, like for example, like that work fascinates me. Like I want to buy like $150 like frames just to keep these. Those, I don't know if you can tell or not, are 3 pivotal scenes from Catcher in the Rye, but they're done in charcoal, and there's so much thought put into them. When the kid gave this talk, when he talked about why he did what he did there, it was so amazing. He's like, this book is about a depressed adolescent boy who goes on a binge for 3 to 5 days in New York. And I did that the way I did it because you see the book through hazy eyes, and you see it through like a gauze, and you are on this ride that you can't, and then he uses charcoal where everything's not clear and the lines are not sharp and everything is hazy. I mean, I was like, I just wanted to like walk off. I'm like, it's never gonna get better than this. I was like, when he taught, I was like, I'm done with teaching. How it's never gonna get better than that. But like, that's amazing. That's amazing. And he read Catcher in the Rye. That's a difficult book.
That's awesome.
So the point is, like, they are as excited about reading as I am. And what high school, I mean, I don't know, maybe there are other high school classrooms like that, but like, where are kids like, oh my God, can we have reading time today? Like, can you please stop talking at me? Like, I just want to read. Like, where is that happening? So,
now, your kids have to take standardized.
Like, she's coming in on her free period to put up work that she created based on her choice reading that she's going to talk to her class about. Like, what? Like, what's happening here? There's something interesting happening here. And I've been in front of the class, I didn't do choice reading up until this year. I know what it's like to stand in front of 33 like eyes glazed teenagers at 8:50 in the morning and be like, all right, so the themes and the things that they carried, what did they carry? Like, I've done that. Like, I could do it, and I could still bring excitement. If Lehman said, shut down choice reading, which you would never do, and if I had to go back to the traditional way, I could still do it. I'd still bring excitement and activities, and it'd be amazing. But this is about life. This is not about school. I want them to have reading lives beyond my classroom. And I think that's essential to our democracy. It's essential to, Kelly Gallagher, who's another author, says, great literature is rehearsal for life, because we face dilemmas in literature that we face outside of school, and if we read great literature, then we know what to do,
So, do your kids take a state test?
Yeah.
Every year?
Yep.
Every year?
Not every year. I'm sorry, junior year. But now it's going to be every year because we're switching over to the Keystones. So, it'll be like it'll depend on whenever they take biology. If they end up taking biology freshman year, that's when they'll take biology. It's crazy.
And your kids are usually prepared to do very well on those.
Yeah, because we even take an inquiry stance with standardized testing. So we have them build their own tests. So our prep, how people like have kill and drill like session. Our prep is we say, all right, here's a sample of questions from the test. What kind of questions are being asked? It's like, then they'll say, oh, they're asking about author's purpose. They're saying what the what the word means in a context of a sentence. So then I say, all right, now you write your own. And so we write a test together. And so we even take an inquiry stance with standardized testing prep. And like we build our own test. How do you do well on a test? You build your own test.
You make that sound pretty simple.
I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like, oh my God, what excerpt are we going to use? What kind of question? So then I might like bring in an excerpt from a New Yorker article, because I don't know what else to give on a standardized test, because it could be anything. And then I might give a different article to each table, and I'll be like, all right, come up with 5 good questions, the types that we've been talking about yesterday, and then they write their own questions. I mean, you say you make it easy, but like, it's kind of, I mean, it
Kind of is.
I mean, you ask them to do good work and they'll do it for you, but you gotta like find the articles and teach them how to read the question, and then.
So if there was one thing you could change about this school, what would that be?
More time. We don't have a lot of time. We do so much. We work really hard. Our kids work really hard. Our teachers work really hard. We all have